Today we're diving into an all-new 3-row, all-electric SUV that's been making waves. And for once, it actually deserves the hype. This is the 2026 Hyundai IONIQ 9, and I've been driving the all-wheel drive Performance Calligraphy trim all week. Hyundai's not just throwing another EV into the mix here. This thing is big, bold, tech-heavy, luxurious, and fast. There's a lot to love, a couple of things to nitpick, and plenty to talk about. I'm Adam, this is TexasGarage. Let's get into it. Let's kick it off with the trims because Hyundai is offering something just for about everyone here. The base model is the IONIQ 9S that's only offered in rear-wheel drive, starting at $58,955. It comes with a single rear motor up to 335 miles of range and 19-inch wheels. Next up, the SE and SEL all-wheel drive trims, both with dual motors, around 320 miles of range and added tech and comfort. Then you've got the big dogs, the Performance Limited and the Performance Calligraphy. These are all-wheel drive only options with 422 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, a 0-60 around 4.9 seconds. Range, still good at 311 miles. There's even the calligraphy design package if you want more flair, but this tester is already top spec. So let's dive into this, starting with the exterior design. So the 2026 IONIQ 9 makes a bold first impression, both in stance and style. This is not just another electric SUV playing it safe with soft curves and anonymous lines. It's big, unapologetically boxy in the best way, and wears its scale proudly. The squared off silhouette and long stretched proportions give it a commanding presence, while the design language shared loosely with the 7 concept leans into futuristic minimalism. The cyber gray metallic paint on our tester here brings a smooth, techy vibe that works beautifully with the sharp creases and pixelated lighting elements Hyundai's IONIQ brand is becoming known for. Up front, the vertical LED headlamps and parametric pixel daytime running lights establish a clean digital face. There's a sense of refinement in the details, hidden antennae, flush surfaces, and subtle aero sculpting, all helping the IONIQ 9 achieve a slippery drag coefficient of just 0.27. Impressive for a 3-row SUV. The proportions are stretched even further by the long 123.2-inch wheelbase and tight overhangs, giving it a cab rearward look rarely seen in the EV segment. The Performance Calligraphy trim adds some of the most visual upscale touches in the lineup. This includes exclusive front and rear fascias, body color wheel arches, and 21-inch alloy wheels that look properly substantial. The roofline is capped with a panoramic glass sunroof, while the rear is finished with an LED light bar that spans the width of the vehicle, further reinforcing its digital age design language. All of these details add up to a vehicle that looks just at home, valet side, at a hotel as it does in a suburban driveway. The rear hatch here opens to reveal a wide, low loading cargo area that's as functional as it is refined. Thanks to the vehicle's flat floor architecture and long wheelbase, they've carved out generous space behind each row. With all 3 rows upright, you get 21.9 cubic feet of cargo volume, which is really great. Enough for a grocery run or a couple of carry-ons. Fold the 3rd row flat, and that space expands to 46.7 cubic feet. Ideal for weekend road trips. This calligraphy trim also includes power folding 3rd row seats for added convenience. Of course, we've also got a frunk, which isn't big at all. It's 1.84 cubic feet of additional cargo space, but that's just enough room to carry The charging cables or emergency gear, definitely not class-leading numbers, but the ease of access, smart packaging, and flat surfaces make it a practical standout. Under the skin, our IONIQ 9 Performance Calligraphy all-wheel drive packs the most potent electric setup yet. Dual 157.3 kilowatt electric motors, one front, one rear, producing a combined 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. That's enough to push this large 3-row SUV from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.9 seconds, which is seriously quick for a family hauler, especially of this size and weight. Power comes from a massive 110.3 kilowatt hour battery mounted under the floor, offering an estimated 311 miles of range in this configuration. The IONIQ 9 rides on Hyundai's E-GMP platform and supports 800-volt ultra-fast charging, meaning you can recharge from 10% to 80% in just 24 minutes using a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger. It also comes with the new NACS port for Tesla supercharging access. No adapter needed here. This has the Tesla port on it. You do have an adapter for using other chargers as well. So whether you're powering up at home or hitting the road for a long haul, the IONIQ 9's charging tech is among the most advanced and fastest in its class. And we did stop by our local Buc-ee's that has a Tesla supercharging network. I pulled in with 25% left on the battery at about 6:44 in the morning. Went in Buc-ee's, grabbed some stuff, came out, hung out for a bit, and hit 80% by 7:17. So it's just over 30 minutes total of charging to get from 25% to 80%, which is definitely quick. We weren't charging nearly at the max rate, but it was definitely convenient and easy, and I didn't feel like I had to wait long, and I was back out on the road. Now let's talk about the interior because, wow. This one's got the dark green and gray interior. The dark green looks like a dark gray unless the sun hits it just right. But I think it looks really good and has a lot of really cool details in there. And I know it might be a little bit bold, but honestly, it really works. Especially paired with this H-Tex trim seats, a microfiber suede headliner, and these real aluminum accents. It feels upscale, premium, but not overdone. Up front, you've got Hyundai's signature panoramic curved display with a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster and a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. And of course, to complete that panoramic look, they are side by side as much as possible. You do have wired or wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's finally here and it works great. This is the kind of interior you don't mind being stuck in traffic for a little while in. Let me pick you up and give you a better look around. All right, let's take a quick look through the interior here. Again, we've got that panoramic panel here with the two large screens. This is full touch and everything looks really nice. We've got a lot of options here and easy access to what you need. We also do have Apple CarPlay, and this is wired or wireless, which is great. And of course, we've got our USB Type-C charging ports and interface with the infotainment system in another little extra 12-volt, 180-watt accessory charger here. You can see we've got options for the seats. They are heated, cooled, heated back seats, and the front driver's seat is also massaging. Further down is all your physical buttons for your AC and heat controls, including those heated and cooled seat buttons, heated steering wheel button. Again, your USB-C charging, a couple of shelves, and a pretty open floor here. Coming back up to your console, you've got a fingerprint sensor for profiles, an auto hold button, a hill descent control, and then you've got your drive and terrain modes. These consist of Eco, Normal, Sport, and My Drive, and terrain is snow, mud, and sand. You've also got a button here for your cameras. This does have a 360 camera setup, and obviously a backup camera. This is your gear shifter here. You're seeing this on a lot of the Hyundais these days, but your start-stop button here, you twist it forward for drive, back for reverse, And then we've got our backup camera with guidelines, and then the button here for park. Back to the console, we've got our parking sensor button here. We've got a little tray here for your phone and wireless charging. So you can just throw your phone on, it'll start wirelessly charging. Cup holders, console, decently squishy. Open it up, you've got a ton of room in there. And this even passes down into even more space, which can be accessed through the rear seats. And of course, this can be opened up from the rear also. Steering wheel is nice and looks cool. You've got these light indicators here, all your cruise settings and interfacing with your infotainment, your regenerative braking paddles on each side, and some of your normal stocks. And then that digital driver information system. We also have the rear view camera in the rear view mirror and the full panoramic sunroof. Not bad. But with that, I think it's time to get this thing out on the road, see how it drives. Let's go. On the road, this IONIQ 9 delivers a driving experience that blends smooth electric power with a surprising sense of confidence, especially for a vehicle this large. The dual motor setup sends that 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque to all four wheels via Hyundai's H-Track all-wheel drive system, giving the IONIQ 9 immediate and silent acceleration. Whether you're merging onto the highway or pulling away from a red light, there's more than enough grunt on tap, and it's delivered in a way that feels both refined and controlled. Despite its size and weight, this SUV moves with urgency when you want it to, but it's never twitchy or overly aggressive. That said, the weight is always present, and you'll notice it, mostly over uneven pavement. On smooth roads, the IONIQ 9 rides like a true luxury cruiser, quiet, composed, and impressively insulated, thanks to features like the active noise control, acoustic glass, and sound-reducing tires. But hit a dip or bump and the suspension can get caught off guard, transferring more motion into the cabin than you'd expect. It's not harsh, but it's noticeable, especially compared to how settled everything feels the rest of the time. Hyundai's chassis tuning walks a fine line between comfort and control, and for the most part, it gets the balance right. Still, a more robust suspension setup would help this performance trim handle the heft with a bit more grace on imperfect roads. Steering is light but direct, making the SUV easy to maneuver around town or in tighter parking lots. The regenerative braking paddles behind the wheel let you tailor your driving feel, from coast-friendly gliding to near one-pedal driving. And when you're cruising, Highway Driving Assist 2 takes the edge off for long-distance driving or road tripping by keeping you centered and adapting to traffic with minimal input. It's not quite to the level of Chevy's Super Cruise, and obviously not at Tesla's full self-driving, but it's good. It's not trying to hustle through corners or outgrip a performance crossover, but it's a luxury electric cruiser built for real comfort, family, duty, and long-distance EV travel. It hits the mark with style. So we quickly talked about the trims and kind of their base price earlier in the video, but let's kind of break it down again. So the IONIQ 9S with rear-wheel drive, which is your base trim, starts just under $59,000. That already gets you a 110 kilowatt hour battery, rear-wheel drive, and 335 miles of range, which is fantastic for a three-row SUV. What I'm sitting in here, the all-wheel drive Performance Calligraphy. It has a base MSRP of $74,990. We've got extras like the cyber gray paint for $500, carpeted floor mats for $230, vehicle load adapter for $220, and then the destination charge is about $1,600. So our total MSRP is just under $78,000 at $77,540. This is built in Georgia, and qualifies under current federal guidelines. So you should be eligible for the $7,500 tax credit at the moment. That could bring your actual cost down to more around $70,000, which is still a lot of money for a family to pay for an SUV, but definitely not unheard of. And there's not much else on the market that is this big and this nice for anywhere close to that kind of money. So let's talk about the competition. What else is out there? Obviously, you have the Kia EV9, built on the same E-GMP platform. It starts at a lower cost and tops out in the mid $70,000 range. Gets 304 miles of EV range, a little bit less power than the IONIQ 9, but still a great option. You have the Rivian R1S, which is way more rugged, more of an off-road focused vehicle. Range can hit up to 400 miles, which again is really impressive. But the price starts around $75,000 and climbs past $90,000 really quickly. And then we have the Tesla Model X, the OG in this category. And this has just been refreshed and updated by Tesla, which is fantastic. It's needed it for a while. You're looking up to 335 miles of range, but you're paying for it. It also starts around $78,000, and its 3 rows are pretty tight, much less interior space than what we have here. Volvo has also announced an EX90, but it's expected to compete in price and range. Very upscale, but the point is the IONIQ 9 hits a sweet spot. You get legit performance, real range, lots of space, and that premium feel without crossing into the 6-figure territory. And for a family-sized EV, that still feels special. That's still rare. Let me jump out. I'll give you some of my final thoughts, and we'll wrap this thing up. So is this the 2026 IONIQ 9 actually worth the hype? Yeah, it is. It's not perfect. The suspension could use a little more tuning to handle all that weight, but everything else, Hyundai nailed it. This is the EV a lot of families have been waiting for. Spacious, quick, comfortable, and built to last. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the IONIQ 9. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week. Really worth checking out and subscribing to the channel. Also check out TXGarage.com, where we've got a lot of written reviews as well as event news coverage from a lot of great authors. We also have a weekly newsletter over there if you just want weekly updates. Really worth checking out. With that, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching.